Okay. For life.
Hey.
So how's your day going, Daisy?
My day is going really good. Yeah, I am like trying to make sure you can't see my knee in the stream because I'm sitting not normal.
Okay. We're a little knee up.
We got to do a knee up. I don't know. Somebody should do a controlled study on this. I'm not sure what the science is behind it, but knee up really gets the blood flowing to the brain.
Cozy. Yeah, you're feeling comfortable. My legs are like crossed up. Like I do like a little perch when I'm in a chair on a live stream, just to get the body feeling comfortable.
I think it goes back to like, when you were sitting around the fire telling stories in the caveman era, which is the original podcast, right? Were we all sitting with perfect posture? Like, were we at a standing desk? No, we were crisscross applesauce, comfortable, nested, looking around for predators. Like,
exactly.
All deeply embedded in our DNA.
Another thing that's deeply embedded in my DNA is this is my second time buying from Depop. I bought something on Depop this week. And that takes forever to send. Like it takes. Have you ever done any depopping?
It's because it's some girlie in her house.
She
has millennial burnout. She doesn't want to go to the post office. That's why I don't sell my stuff online. I'm like, you're not getting me there.
I know, but I'm just like, I need to like factor that in to when I'm doing the depopping, because I'm like, I'm so used to, you
need this item like for a specific event on a timeline, or you're just
I did the first time I ordered something from Depop, I did need it for a specific event on a timeline, and I was like really uptight about the whole thing. But this is just not that. But I'm still like, I don't know why I didn't learn my lesson the first time.
Sometimes it takes a couple times to sink in. Also, can we this mug is huge.
Wow, what does it say on it?
It says Antisocial Skateboard Shop and Simple Magic Forever. This was a collab by the skateboarding newsletter Simple Magic, and I believe like a local skateboard shop.
Oh, cool.
Either probably in Vancouver, the Pacific Northwest, because that's where they're located.
Oh, cool. Okay, let me get through some intro stuff here, and then we can jump into some stories. So for those who are just joining us, Daisy is our special co-host today. Thank you so much for coming on and making the time.
Yeah, we're doing a Discord overthrow of Natasha. So if you would like me to stay in power, go vote.
Put the thumbs up emoji.
Yeah.
No, don't. We love Natasha. She's in Brazil right now for a conference. So
they said come to Brazil, and she was like,
bet. She's like, yeah, absolutely. She's like, oui, let's do it. So
they famously speak French.
Famously speak French in Brazil. So Daisy, just so happy to have you. Thank you so much for stepping in. Just a quick note on who we are. So Boys Club, for those who are not familiar, is a media company community. We talk about technology, we talk about culture, we talk about how the two intertwine. We do a live stream every week, and we have a newsletter. And if you are new here, welcome. We love new people. And next week, we're actually going to be doing the live stream in person. I think we're going to be doing an in-person show. So I'm really excited about that. More details to come soon. And then quick note to our sponsor, Polygon. If you've touched crypto in any way, chances are you've already used Polygon. It's the chain quietly powering a bunch of stuff that actually works, that people actually use, like Stripe's crypto payments, betting on poly markets, prediction markets, and a bunch more. We love Polygon and are just so grateful that they support this live stream. So that's that. Now, actually, just quickly on the agenda. So we're going to chat for a bit, which is me, Daisy, and then we have some fun guests. Francis from beehiiv is going to come on and talk about a piece that just got published on Dirt. Is it out yet, or
imminently?
Coming soon.
Okay, great. Cheeky preview.
And it's on sort of venture and agriculture and really interesting stuff there. And then we have Xiao from Aptos Labs coming on to talk about what they're up to. And then Turley from Coop Records is going to talk about his latest thing. So that's what we got going on today. Okay, so Daisy, you wanted to talk about
I
Uniqlo?
want to tell you about this article about Uniqlo that was in the New Yorker. I believe it's by Lauren Collins, who does a lot of their fashion and retail coverage.
Let's just pull up
Something
Clone. Let's get there from the homeland here.
Yeah, so we aggregated that onto Clone with a quickness because this is a brand that I am fascinated by. I would say I am a fan. I think my most memorable shopping experience was I went the day after I got engaged because like I hadn't packed enough clothes for the weekend
Mhm.
because I was like I'm pretty sure my boyfriend's going to propose, but I'm not going to jinx it by like packing enough clothes for this situation.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
obviously had to do an emergency Uniqlo trip.
Okay.
So that's warm place in my heart for it. The stuff that was interesting pulling out of here. Um,
It's this one here, Inside Uniqlo's Clothes Quest for Global Dominance.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Also wanted to draw your attention, viewers, to the fact that we now have this stream integrated at the top of Clone.
Oh, yeah.
So
Let's actually just talk about that a little bit. Tell
yeah,
us what's going on here.
So this will actually save your spot. So the last time you were here, you were listening to this episode, but if you tab back on the episode skip, it will actually have the most recent Tasteland.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the most recent thing today. So the really cool thing is this is a loop that is pulling on both the RSS for Tasteland, which is my podcast with Francis Zierer, and then this stream as it's archived as a podcast. And you can tab through our entire archive while you scroll, and it will remember where you were. So if you get halfway through an episode and come back and you're kind of like listening in small increments while you're checking out these links, as long as you're like on the same device, it'll remember you.
Look at you,
Pretty
women in
slick,
STEM, right
right?
here,
Yeah.
shipping
Oh,
new
well,
features.
I did not build this,
I know you
but
did.
I did conceive it.
You did conceive it, and that's some of the battle. I'm not going to say half the battle, but
So
it's some of
speaking
it.
of conceiving, Uniqlo is it's the third largest apparel manufacturer behind H&M and Inditex, which is the parent company of Zara. Is that surprising to you? Or like when you hear that, you're like, that makes sense?
I guess um,
Oh,
we could
should we
save
save 20%?
20% on tickets to the New Yorker Festival.
Not this time, David Remnick. All right.
I is it surprising? I guess. Yeah, I guess it is. I guess I when I think of Uniqlo, I am like I have to assume that's a global number, or is that US?
Global.
Global, yeah. I feel like that then checks out, but I don't know. I guess I would have expected like something weird like Amazon Basics or something to be in there, you know?
Yeah, I wonder about that because like what about Shein? But maybe because it says apparel manufacturer, maybe because that volume is split across a lot of different sub manufacturers, it doesn't count towards like a unified total.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say retailer. It's
Right,
definitely
right,
on the
right, right. There's some
manufacturing
sort of carve
side.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. And they although they carry like much fewer styles than Zara and H&M, and that's sort of their claim to sustainability. I really also liked this quote in the article from Tariro Makani, who writes the newsletter Trademarked, and told the author, Uniqlo is kind of like Everlane without the moral superiority and H&M without the ickiness.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I
Um, yeah.
that's really rings true. I think the one thing about Uniqlo for me is that every once in a while, I think they have great lines and great cuts. Every once in a while, I'll get a weird fabric.
They do make some weird fabric choices. I have a sweater that's like a little too scratchy,
Hmm.
and I think it's supposed to be that way, but it's
Hmm.
like it's not waffle fabric, but it almost feels like if waffle fabric was a sweater. See what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
Like
Okay.
waffle Henley
Okay.
vibe, but sweater.
So Uniqlo's doing great is the TLDR here.
Yeah, they're doing great. When something gets that big though, I think people get more comfortable critiquing. There was another section, it wasn't totally clear to me. So the author goes to the headquarters, and it's not clear to me whether this is like in the headquarters or worldwide, but She says that um, the company has eliminated 90% of their warehouse's human staff, and that
Wow.
it's done by robots. So obviously, like, robots better than sweatshop labor, but you wonder about the global implications of this.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I think, yeah, I mean, you can't be that big and be perfectly virtuous. That's just the way that it is. I kind of skimmed parts of the article. I need to go back. I think it does seem to avoid getting into the discourse around the aesthetic tyranny of like minimalism, because I really don't think that that's what's happening here. Obviously the brand is like really rooted in certain Japanese values, which are more towards like quality and not quantity.
Mhm.
And she sort of talks about the history of like Ivy League American prep style in Japan and how these clothes can sort of fit into that,
Okay.
being mixed with other like more explicitly preppy stuff or with like brands like Levi's. And if you're interested in that, definitely read Amatora by friend of the pod, W. David Marks. But I think, yeah, I would say like all of this tracks to me. I don't feel like there is a aesthetic agenda at play. They are really solid basics. I will say I hate the website. They need to redo it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It
Yeah,
sucks.
the e-commerce experience is great. This is true for me. The company's mastered the hero product, turning out such hits as the round mini shoulder bag. I have this. It's
You
incredible.
have it.
It's
Interesting.
it's like so just utility maximum. Um, wow, really interesting stuff. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
you're so welcome.
I wanted to chat with you about this one. I don't know if you read. Oh, and then
Oh,
the Ben and Jerry Ben
now just Ben.
now just Ben. What do you think? Why do you think Ben stays in that? Because it seems like what I read, it was very
Mhm.
amicable, where Ben was like, he was like, I totally basically was like, I totally get why Jerry's leaving. I like respect him so much and love him so much, and but Ben's staying. And so I just like really wonder about that dynamic.
I think I don't remember. I don't know the ages of Ben and Jerry and whether they're the same age. I would say like if somebody is approaching retirement
Mhm.
anyway and has a strong sense that they want to go out on their own terms, I think like him leaving is not necessarily like a difference in values or how strongly they feel about it. I think it's
Okay.
probably like some people are the type of people that need to go out on their own terms, and others are maybe like more of the stay and fight mentality.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I'm guessing it maybe came down to that, or maybe even an age difference, which I'm not aware of. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just like
both
a
of these
lifestyle
people
choice.
have been building for like a really long time.
Totally.
And yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to like Unilever as a steward of Ben and Jerry's, which I grew up in New England, so we would go. Well, you were in New York, so I don't know if you ever went up to Vermont to the factory, but like they were such a values-based business. It's really, really hard to maintain those values once you've been acquired by a conglomerate of that
Totally.
nature. And it's possible that like they were always planning for this scenario, and maybe like Jerry more so, like
Yeah.
had a mental red line of like, we know we're entering territory of losing ideological control of our brand, and I'm prepared to leave if X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I respect it, man. I really respect it. I think what my understanding of what happened is that they had been acquired, I don't know, whatever, like 15, 20 years ago. And then this was like some sort of second acquisition within that first acquisition. Like there was something that happened that was like
Yeah,
they were going to be in
spin
even
off.
newer hands. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so really interesting stuff. Clone.fyi, if you are ever looking for just some well curated stuff to peruse, this is your spot. There's some really good stuff up here right now. This story about the super yacht sinking.
So nice we aggregated it twice.
Exactly.
It
So good.
was
We have to
on
do it
the
twice.
site last week. It dropped off, and one
We
of us
had to
put it
had to
back.
bring it
But
back.
you know what?
Um, also, I really, really loved this one, which I think you pulled up,
Dude,
which
top of
was
hacker news. Like, who? doesn't love this? This is technology at
Incredible.
its best.
It was so incredible. And like just the level of detail and nerdy like obsession that was evident in this piece is just
The
like
preface, this article is not served from a web server running on disposable vape.
incredible, really incredible stuff. So yeah, just some good stuff going on there right now. I recommend you check it out. It's updated.
Oh, Francis says Ben and Jerry are both 74. Okay, well,
Okay, fact
74,
check.
sometimes a 74 is a young 74, sometimes it's an old 74.
Totally. Okay, let's bring Francis up here to say hi. Hey, Francis.
What's up? What's up, boys? How's it going?
How you doing?
I'm doing
It's
good.
one boy today. Well, boy and a half. Daisy's a honorary boy today. How's it going?
It's going good. It's great to be here.
So for folks who don't know context, Daisy and Francis have a podcast together. So
Famously.
you guys are already accustomed to this format.
Yeah, we're in a relationship.
You're in a podcast relationship. So Francis Zierer, researching, writing, podcasting about creators and digital media, editor of the Creator Spotlight for beehiiv and co-host of Tasteland. So happy to have you on.
It's great to be here, and it's great to be moonlighting as an agriculture and tech and ag tech reporter for Dirt this week.
I am so excited to chat with you about this. So I read your piece, obviously, and in the piece you disclose that you are the child of farmers. I come from a family farm as well, though it's a slightly different arrangement, but I am in the game in a certain way too.
You've touched grass.
I have, yeah. What it is that my mom and her long-term partner, is this woman named Amy Hepworth, and she has like a 7th generation family farm in upstate New York. So she's run it, but my mom and Amy have been together forever. So I'm like in it, but not like.
That's your step farm.
It's my step farm.
My family's farm is like a 1st generation farm.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Very different.
Okay, wait, I want to bring up the piece, but is it up yet or is it not?
No, but we all have knowledge of it. So Francis, do you want to just give it in broad strokes?
Yeah. So, I mean, basically why I wanted to write this piece is 6 years ago or so when I moved to New York and I was trying to get like a copywriting or marketing job for the first time. I found Smallhold and I was like, wow, this is so cool. Here's a company that seems to represent my values coming from a small farm, but also is branded in this like tech startup way and, seemingly maybe pays in that same tech startup way, which my whole thing looking for a career was I didn't want to be a farmer, which meant I didn't want to work 7 days a week for low pay. Right. So I'm like, oh, here might be the best of both worlds. So I looked into it and like, I quickly realized like, oh, okay, they've got a few people, on staff doing more of like the marketing jobs, etc. And then they've got farmers getting paid normal farm wages. This is not the, perfect thing I maybe thought it would be. Then a year and a half ago, I think it was the beginning of 2024, Smallhold, which for anybody listening who is unfamiliar, is this mushroom startup, mushroom tech startup as well. They had these like dialed in systems where you could do it remote, Wi-Fi enabled micro farms in Mission Chinese, etc., things like this. But they filed for bankruptcy and the 2 founders left. And Adam DiMartino, who was kind of the more technologist founder, he wrote this post on Medium really explaining what went wrong and how I have some of the numbers here so I can read off really quickly. Basically, at peak, they were making $17 million in annual revenue with a post-money valuation of roughly $90 million, supported by $58 million in angel investing, institutional VCs, and debt. So they had all this, but at the end of the day, they were just a mushroom farm.
Well, they were making $17 million a year. That to me is more than just a mushroom farm.
Yes, and they were in like 1,200 locations across the nation. In like I know they started in New York, but they were on the West Coast. They were in Texas. They were selling a ton of mushrooms, and they were very expensive. And what they really did is like that besides their product being mushrooms and maybe the tech, which I don't think they licensed the tech, they were like creating a market for specialty mushrooms, right? As opposed to you go and you buy the button mushrooms that you put on a pizza. Like they educated a lot of people about these mushrooms. So I think there's a lot of probably small farms in the afterglow who now can sell these mushrooms, but I'm not quite sure, but I'm pretty sure like if not 90% of that revenue, 100% was selling mushrooms. But these are expensive mushrooms that are like $10 a pound or something like that.
Yeah. Can you say more about why you you wrote about this in the piece, but why farming isn't a career option for you?
Yeah, because I mean, my parents are like 71 now. They still are working. They don't have money to retire. They
Yeah.
work still 6 days a
Northern
week
California.
in Northern California. Yeah, and it's beautiful, right? And like,
Yeah.
I loved growing up in that, but I mean, one, I'm addicted to buying things.
Mm.
Two, I'm vain.
Are any of these things that you're buying from Uniqlo?
Um, I buy Uniqlo socks and boxer briefs.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's not an option for me because yeah, it's like I saw my parents working that hard
Yeah.
for not that much money, and I just didn't want to. I wanted to like move to a city and work on my computer.
And it's produce that they're farming.
Yeah, so it's 8 acres. When I was much younger, this is a fun little story actually. My sister is 10 years older than me, and when she was born, they're starting their farm. They said if we have a girl, we'll grow flowers. If we have a boy, we'll grow potatoes. They had a girl, and so for a long time it was flowers, and then around I don't know 20 years ago or so, maybe a little more, we moved to the coast. We were in the mountains at first, downsized the farm from like 25 acres to an 8-acre plot. And it's now much more produce and plant starts. Still a little bit of flowers, some dahlias, sunflowers, lavender, but it's more like brassicas do really well where my family is from, which is the family of like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, romanesco, kale, all that.
Nice.
Mhm.
So, okay. So what's the where do you get to in this piece? Kind of the through line as I took it was that venture and agriculture do not mix, but curious if that's the takeaway. It's certainly what my feeling is, but curious if
Yeah.
that's sort of where you landed as well.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was looking for because it's not just smallhold, but there's Square Roots. I used to buy their basil here in Ridgewood. There's Bowery Farming. They got
Square Root
liquidated.
is a Musk owned
Yes,
venture.
Kimball Musk and Simon Peggs, I think is his name. Definitely Peggs. I forget if Simon is the first name. But yeah, I saw these farms. I was like, is this a feasible thing? These VC funded farms, is this model of like venture funded produce, is that a thing? And what I found is really they're all just tech companies selling tech, right? Like Bowery, I don't know if they were like selling proprietary tech or something like that, but it was vertical farming greenhouses, and they raised tons of money, multiple hundreds of millions of dollars. Didn't work, they got liquidated. Square Roots, they don't grow their own basil anymore. I believe it's more just they license the like container farm system they came up with. So yeah, you can't really do venture backed farms because like food, you can only sell food for so much. Food should be more expensive, right? You go to a restaurant, it should be more expensive, but it's not. You're just never going to be able to like make venture returns on food, nor should you. It's kind of like this total values misalignment, right? Where like my parents do their small farm and they love it, and they're not like after massive capital returns, right? They like growing produce as part of their community, and it's this model that's like this like community focused model that's just not compatible with venture capitalism.
What about the private equity opportunity?
Yes.
Like, what about, is there a way for these smallhold farms to bundle, almost like a holding company?
I think no. No. So I mean, I did find some stuff about private equity roll-ups of farms. And I'm trying to find the exact number here so I don't screw it up. But basically,
I have it up.
Of the carrot prices.
Oh, carrots.
So okay, here it is. So there was over the last between 2023 over a 5-year period ending in 2023, there were 129 private equity deals completed in the U.S. ag industry for companies active in at least 27 states across crops, including nurseries, carrots, rice, alfalfa, safflower, tomatoes, bell peppers, mushrooms, cannabis, cucumbers, many more.
One of these things not like the other.
But well, a more specific example of this, though, is that 2 of these reported deals had the effect of placing at least 60% of the country's fresh carrot production in the hands of just 2 PE firms. And during that period,
those are huge farms, though. Those are huge farms.
Yeah, exactly. Like so like the small farm has no part in this, right? The small farm is not ever going to be this like profit vehicle. And also any of these large deals, right? Like these are subsidized by exploitation of labor, right? If not also funds from the government. There was the one big beautiful bill act passed earlier this summer, right? Like that included, I think it's 600 billion for farms over 10-year period, I think it is. And it also, like, there was already funding for farms. This removed some of it, reallocated others, and like the TLDR of that is like a lot of smaller, more like, renewable agriculture, climate focused funding was removed and given to, like, the incentives were more given to large farms growing these like large scale crops that private equity could make money from.
Is John Deere a good investment right now? Yes or no?
John Deere, probably still a good
Buy,
investment. Kubota could be a good investment too. My family is a Kubota family, and it's, the stock is only a third of the price of John Deere. Yeah, anyways, I mean, to wrap up kind of the ramble, I think my conclusion on this was that, the small farm model incompatible with capital. Period. It's my
If you're a VC, you should invest in the tech. If you're
Yeah.
a farmer, you should put your extra money into John Deere stock and or Bitcoin.
Yeah, and the government should create more subsidies for small farms.
Absolutely.
I think the other thing that comes up for me when I read your piece was that there, I believe, will soon be a big hole in what the small to mid-sized farmer is currently like providing, and even just like looking at like a regional,
Like at a farmer's
Yeah.
market.
farmers market, CSAs. I mean, even my mom and her partner's farm, like, they're pretty big. They sell to Whole Foods. They distribute to a bunch of big, like, Park Slope Food Co-op and places like that. They're big.
Yeah.
And they're not an industrial farm by any means, but it's a big operation. And there's no energy from the next generation to come and do this
Case in
work
point.
for all the reasons that you outlined. It's the same thing is happening with our farm. No one is like, I don't want to, no thanks. And there's a lot of like, I can count like 5 dudes on one like on a hand that I know that were tech guys, moved up from the city to the Hudson Valley and to become farmers. Like I can think of many. And they did it for a couple of years, lost so much money doing it, and like that doesn't work either. Like those guys coming in to backfill.
No, you have to make so much sacrifice to do it.
Sacrifice. It's like, yeah. And so I don't see that working. I don't see venture working, and I don't see a ton of energy from like another generation who's willing to come up into a family farm dynamic. And so I just wonder, like, I know that, at least in upstate New York, where I know more of the landscape there, like, I think what will happen is like they'll just start selling their land.
Yeah.
And then that will happen. And then like that will start to have like a knock-on effect of the supply chain for the city and for other places where there's like a high demand for regional produce. So I don't know what happens next, but
yeah. One thing I'll say, when I asked like my mother for some facts for this piece, and the last thing she said was like the difference between what we do and what any of the companies I'd kind of listed here do from her perspective was passion, right? Because to do this, you have to make so many sacrifices. You have to really care, and you have to, like, it's the difference is passion versus capital, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, we'll drop the link in the thread here so that people can read it when it's live. And really interesting stuff. Francis, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. A pleasure to enter the club for 15 minutes.
Totally. We'll have to have you again. And Daisy, thank you so much for hanging with me for a bit. Appreciate you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Ciao. Right. See you guys soon. Okay, bringing up Sherry. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, boys. Hi, Dina.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm so good.
So to be here.
It's so nice to have you. So just quickly, founding engineer of Aptos Labs. Did I get that right? Is that your
that's correct.
Correct bio? Okay. Sherry, where are you streaming from today?
Well, it's obviously a box. I feel like nowadays
you're in a box.
A lot of people in a box. But yeah, it is our New York office based of Soho.
Nice. Okay, so I want to get into some of your background, and it's really interesting. And then we can talk about sort of what's next for Aptos. But tell me, you were at Libra Diem at Meta. So tell me a little bit about where you were before you joined Aptos.
Absolutely. I started my career as an engineer. So I actually started at Instagram. to help Instagram grow and then scale their infrastructures and backend. That was like a hyper growth period of time where we have to deal with, celebrities like coming to Instagram, post something, take down Instagram, and
Justin Bieber melting the servers.
Exactly.
They're like, we got to call Sherry.
Exactly. And then they just called 911. It was crazy time that people actually call 911 when the social media platform is down.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. And we were like working on a lot of things of making the software run super efficient. So, Instagram had enough capacity to support the user base. And then after that, it was interesting to learn, like inside Facebook, obviously we have this secretive blockchain team that's like gathering all the rock stars from the company to build the future of finance. And then to me, it's like, wow, how do you do, something so scalable and reliable in a decentralized, fashion? It's like fascinating. You don't control any of those servers. You don't even know who's running them. How do you make sure they're high quality? So it was intriguing for me. And also, I think like as a someone, I'm a Chinese and I grew up in China. I lived in a world where whenever I sent money back to my parents, there's, a lot of fees that you have to pay and deal with that. And back then I heard the missions of Libra trying to, solve the remittances and then build the modern financial infrastructure that's inclusive was fascinating. And then immediately kind of connected with me. So I joined the team as also one of the infrastructure engineers to work on build out the blockchain, build the validators, work with visas or masters, or all those, the all-star Libra Association team of like 20 to 25 like really high-profile companies and trying to build this blockchain together. But I think like the world was not ready for
So
back then.
Just for context, that was what, 2019?
2019.
2019. Yeah, I remember I was building a startup at the time, and I remember seeing what was happening with the Libra stuff and thinking like, wow, that's gonna win everything. I was just like, I think what was most striking about it was, and the storytelling around it was like, wow, to have the built-in distribution potentially of Meta's properties with like a cryptocurrency type or distributed ledger type thing, currency behind it, was really exciting. And TLDR, it didn't end up working the way that I think everyone had dreamed, but that's okay. That happens.
It was a very ambitious project, but at the time everybody was like, Zuck is issuing Zuckbucks. Like the people literally call this coin Zuckbucks. And then he got called to Congress. Obviously the whole testimony of like, wow, how does Facebook make money and all that kind of things. Like, it's all kind of regulation stuff. Obviously after the towards the end of Libra project, a group of us, like engineers that are working on the blockchain team back then, like Avery was the tech lead building out all those infrastructures. We're like, we built really great tech. As engineers, that feels like really sad and disappointed that you don't get to introduce your baby to the world. And then we look at the landscape, right? Like, like all the fast chains and then things that exist at that time. It just feels like that's not supposed to be, how technology solved this problem, and we can do so much better. So that's the birth of Aptos, and we wanted to do it in the right way, in a permissionless, fully decentralized L1, and then can be really like high performance. And we do believe engineering have a solution. It's a very typical Silicon Valley ways of looking at problems. Like we believe tech can solve everything, and that comes to Aptos. And then I started also working as build out the whole L1s and then onboard all the validators, like grow from 0 to 150 nodes like across the world, shipped our mainnet, and then keep growing our ecosystem since then.
Wow, that's cool. That's a really cool path that you've been on. Okay, so just so I'm clear, Instagram recruited for the Libra team internally at Meta, did Libra for however long, and then basically you guys were the Libra sort of skunk works team. Were like, we have something here, we want to keep working on it, let's go and do it in this new container that's outside of Meta. And that's when Aptos was born, essentially. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And what do you feel? Okay, so tell us a little bit about Aptos, like the L1 landscape at this point. We have a lot. See them. There's a new one every day, seemingly, and there's a lot. So tell us what you feel like has Aptos stand out from the rest of the pack. Like, what's your unique perspective or technical perspective that makes you guys different?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like not many people know, like almost like half of those new L1s coming out is probably like really half of them using Aptos tech. Even I see Polygon sponsor this podcast. Polygon implemented Aptos signature block SDM, the parallel execution engine, into helping improving the performance.
Nice.
And then also Monard, Say, Inisha, Movement, like they all adopted like Aptos tech. So in a way, like I guess outside of Ethereum, which they are the kind of the birth of all the smart contracts, and then lots of L1, L2 built on the Ethereum stack. Aptos is another half of the widely adopted technology stack in the Web3 space. We're being kind of like a bit low key, but we're like really hard. Engineering is our hardcore. I think like that's our bread and butter. We have a group of amazing researchers that are really working on the hardest consensus protocol problems to make sure safety. There's guarantees. This whole ledger is like like one true things that represent the source of the truth. So that's one factor is like the future of the space. We do believe like Aptos tech will be leading in this industry and setting really like the boundary or keep pushing the boundary for innovation. Obviously, other things is like our new visions of like building around one single use case, which is trading, and then we categorize that into 3 vertical. Money movements. It's like money moves the best on Aptos just because of how tech is so well solved the problem at Aptos. Our infrastructure can actually stay invisible. So not like any other chains that go down or have problems or have high gas fees and this and that. People building on Aptos don't really feel like like the blockchain really is a problem. Like it's a bottlenecks that take out of the concern of all the builders and founders. So we have the fastest stable coins and then have very good growth rates for when USDC, USDT deployed on Aptos. It's the perfect place to build payment use case. And that's also what Libra was meant to be.
Okay.
Another also category vertical is data on chain, which is this new Shelby hot storage protocol projects we're building along with Jump Crypto. Jump is also known for very, obsessed with infrastructure building in the crypto space. I think like 2 great minds just like really fits together. And then we believe like this is our ways of decentralizing AWS and Google Cloud in the future.
Okay, so that's Shelby.
Yeah, Shelby.
Okay.
Yeah, the final 3rd vertical is like really focused on trading, which is a hyperliquid, some kind of like competition type of product, but really focusing on bringing differentiating assets. Like we have amazing connections and relationship with institution partner like Franklin Templeton, Apollo, BlackRock, almost like you name it. We have a very strong background connections with TradFi, and then institution trust us because of all our track of records, our care for security and reliability. So we wanted to make sure we are the forum where like introducing a lot of those differentiating asset in the futures to come available and trade on our trading product, which is called Decibel.
Okay, so that 3rd one is very much a product, and the other 2 are sort of more like lanes that you guys are operating in. And Decibel is that live? Is that coming soon? Like, tell me about the status of that.
It's coming soon. It's a perp trading product. We just launched our DevNet, and then it's in testing phase. And then they have like a very intense rollout timeline in the next couple of months in this year. And then we will have more exciting news also for Shelby as well at Aptos Experience, which is our flagship Aptos events this year in October 15 to 16. Yeah.
Yes, we're so excited. I'll be there. I cannot wait. We've been talking about it a lot on this pod.
Awesome. I love to meet in person.
I know. I'm so excited. I gotta say, like everyone that I've chatted with from the Aptos team has been just like really lovely, really great energy, really talented group of folks. So I'm excited to spend a couple days with you guys in New York in October.
Nice. That would be really fun. Yeah, I saw this like also boot camp and stuff like you guys are hosting in New York. That sounds really fun.
Yeah. It'll be super fun. Okay, so one thing as I was doing my research for having you come on, one thing that kept coming up was this idea of move as a language. for a lot of people, this might get too in the weeds, but I do think it would be helpful if you could give like an explain it like I'm five on move, and just so we can have sort of a little mind map of what that is when it comes up.
Of course. Yeah, Move, this is a new smart contract language that was originally built by the Libra project. And then since Aptos carried on the whole stack, we obviously carried on with this like a development of the smart contract, this language. And then the unique things about Move is like it's based off the language Rust. I think like this is where the software engineering like may get more excited, because Rust is the better version of C++. It's like so performant and the memory safe and all that kind of things. But it really anchored on something that's its security. Because when Libra initially was like created, we're looking at, hey, can we adopt any existing technology? And then why are we rebuilding wheels, right? But then if you're really looking into Solidity and then, how many people and protocols write vulnerabilities, like bugs and then things that's so easy to exploit and hack, it is a no-brainer. Like we can't use this language because like we are intentionally to build this products for billions of users to use, and then security of the fund is very important, fundamental things that cannot be compromised. So like that's where Move really anchored on is like make sure asset and resources is the first citizen in this language like design. We really care about when you mint a coin, it cannot be like accidentally lost or like move to some place that's hidden. It has to be very intentional on every coin, every single tokens that you deal with in this programming language. And also we build a lot of developer tool to help people, prevent them writing very obvious bugs and then issues that can allow hackers and, like black hats to kind of exploit it. So if one takeaway for Move, it's like, it's very safe. It's designed to write, like high stake products that handles like a very high value assets.
Okay. That's so helpful. Thank you so much for explaining that, because I see it around and I'm like, I know that it's special in some way, but I'm not exactly sure what the way is. So yeah, what I'm understanding is like, it's more performant, it's more secure because it's sort of like built for purpose for handling sort of safety and security around assets. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And I think like one other thing is, as I'm thinking about Aptos, like what type of builder, you sort of talked through the 3 different lanes that you guys are focused on, but like what type of builders do you feel like you want to attract, like you've been really successful in attracting? Like what are sort of some of the standout products or sort of use cases at a product level that you feel like have defined sort of Aptos in the community?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like since we do have focus, right? We want people who can synergize with us and then build alongside, because we believe in a composable environment where like we help build the most difficult parts of the infra pieces. And all this purpose is to enable other very creative builders and founders to come and then bring their ideas, right? Like on the money movement, obviously like payment, there's so much still space to grow. And then why like there isn't a crypto version of the Venmo yet, right? Like it's still not widely adopted. And then stablecoin like makes so much sense for payment. It's just like no brainer. It's so easy. And then all that yields like, why are we not paying our employees with stablecoin yet? And then like allow them to, earn yields immediately. Like that's questions, like we'd love to see somebody being successful there. And for Shelby, obviously, like we're providing a platform where like it's a hot storage, and then we're imagining, AI training kind of a product, or TikTok, the next generation of Netflix, all those like a super data heavy streaming kind of application. Please come bring those type of ideas. We build the infrastructure for you. We build the, the economics of why it makes sense for, creators and builders to come. And then we're just waiting for those like great ideas to compete really in those like a traditional typical Web2 way. And then trading is like even more straightforward. We see how the crazy, competitions around USDH for Hyperliquid, and then there's so much Lego you can play with this whole financial world. It's like reimage all that kind of like, Wall Street games, but now they're playing in Web3. Come play. The arena is being built, and like there's so much opportunities and so much like space to expand from a very localized kind of a markets to be truly a global economy.
Yeah, amen. I totally agree. I think that that's such a wonderful invitation, and I totally buy it as well. So tell me what you're thinking about next. Like, I know we have Aptos experience, but in terms of Shelby or the products, like what's your sort of main focus over the next Q4 and beyond?
Absolutely. I think like it's execution. We wanted to ship. We are like the people of our world, and then Aptos always do what they say, right? Like, so it's not really just like, oh, we paint a whole bunch of pictures and we don't deliver. So
Yeah.
I think like we expecting to have like alpha and then big news coming with Shelby during Aptos experience. So if people are still not signed up, please come. There's more announcement coming from us and Jump together. And obviously a lot of more progress going to be made for Decibel. And then both of the projects are expecting some TGEs like early next year. And then there's a group of new ecosystem projects we wanted to support, and then also like a come to market in the next couple of the month. And then more institution, like a big alpha. Again, I don't want to spill all the beans and stuff. I heard Wolfie, like a World Liberty Fi is coming to Aptos experience. Franklin Templeton is coming. And also you will get a lot of chance of meeting, very hot boys at Aptos.
I saw your video. Very unique. It was thing so funny. That was such a funny video. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Really, really good sports your team is there.
Yeah. They're like, they're not just Silicon Valley nerds. I promise you guys. Like,
you guys are stacked. Sherry, such a pleasure. I'm excited to meet you next month, and I'll drop a link in for folks to register for the Aptos experience so that they can come hang out with us in person.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Great.
Hey.
Coop. Hi.
What up?
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. That just added to the stage so quickly. You appeared.
No time to prepare.
Totally. How are things?
Things are well. Yeah, it's a nice, beautiful day here in LA. Sunny morning. Can't complain.
Cannot complain.
No base camp for me this year, but I'm there in spirit. So.
Hey, I didn't go either. It looked really fun though. But yeah, that's far for you. You're an LA boy.
Yeah, Vermont's a far way away, but like I said, we're there in spirit to support.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so Cooper Turley, creator of Coop Records, you have a big announcement that's happened. Tell me what's going on. Coop Records 2.0. What do we got going on?
Yeah, we launched a new version of our platform. For those who don't know, we run an on-chain record label, and so bringing a bunch of great music on the platform. And then we recently released a new version with some pre-sales, some coins, all the good stuff that people are excited about. So just wanted to come on and kind of share some of the news and dive into the platform and what we have been building.
Okay, so tell me how it all works. How's it stitched together?
So when we started the company, it was very NFT based. This was around 2021, 2022. Mm-hmm. And since then, obviously, we've turned into a very coin-centric world here. And so I think for me, there was kind of this challenge of figuring out how to marry those two experiences together. For artists that we work with, they were really open to dropping collectibles that were fixed in price, that gave people a download. But when it came to doing coins, they got really intimidated and really scared to do that. Mm-hmm. And so about 2 or 3 months ago, we launched a song coin product and basically started just dropping songs as coins, bringing in all the good stuff that crypto people love. But the reality is it was really hard to sell that product to artists. I think that they were really scared of the fact that fans could lose money. They didn't really understand the economics around like market caps and trading volumes and stuff like that. And so this new 2.0 platform basically takes the old model that we had with collectibles and NFTs and positions them more as pre-sales to be able to launch coins once they sell out. And so the way I see this is like, if there's going to be a coin that's launched, it's because the song has a sufficient amount of demand and the economics of the NFT are a lot more favorable to the artist. And so it's kind of allowed us to get a lot more tracks on the platform and kind of position them in a way where if a song is popular, there could be a coin that gets launched, but we don't have to manually go to every artist now and say, hey, let's just launch a meme coin. That basically only happens if there's like a a good amount of demand in the first place.
If it hits the threshold, yeah. As I was reading sort of through the thread and what you guys have going on, it's not dissimilar to sort of how Pumped Up Fun works. I know it's a totally different concept, but like it needs to hit a certain threshold of interest basically in order for a token on Pump Fun to launch. And it's kind of the same thing with what you have, right?
Totally. But it's almost like Trojan horsing the collectibles thing back into the mix. Because I think if you just like broadly ask people, like, are you down to buy a collectible or an NFT? They're going to tell you no. And so having like this coin aspect allows them to kind of benefit from all the trading experiences that they want, but still kind of stays true to the initial vision that we had around like collecting music and being able to share that socially and whatnot. And so I think it's just been cool to be able to kind of package something we've done for a long time into something that feels a little bit more new. And I think for a while there for us, it was a little bit more of a disjointed experience. And so being able to kind of tie that together and then have a way that artists are getting paid a lot more upfront and getting them comfortable with this whole coins thing. It's been a bit of a challenge, but I'm just happy that we're at a position now where it feels like we can really leverage this moving forward and kind of bring this model to a lot more artists and fans moving forward from here.
Do you feel like the folks that are buying the song coins, are they just like curious about their sort of profile? Are they people who are patrons, want to support the artist, like want to collect, or are they trading? Are they speculating with the song coins?
They're trading. And so what happened on my end is that if they're trading, they're probably not going to buy a collectible that's typically fixed in value and gives you a download of a song. Yeah. But they will go and buy $1,000 of a coin that they think is going to go viral on TikTok. And so being able to refactor that purchasing power into them buying 100 editions of a collectible, that artist is getting paid the equivalent of like 10,000 streams when someone buys that. But when they're just buying a coin and they spend, $1,000 on it, the artist is making $10 from like the trading fees that happen. And so I think for us, we just noticed that if you don't have a coin that has millions of dollars of volume, the economics on collectibles are actually much better, but it's just not sexy to sell collectibles. And so I think we're trying to figure out how do you kind of get the best of both worlds in a way that feels like there's only going to be a coin if there's actual demand for it, and not everything needs to be a coin out of the jump from day one. Yeah. And on that, like, are you thinking about, like, I'm curious why you chose songs as the unit to sort of hang this on, because I mean, like there's so many artists put out a song like whatever every 6 weeks or whatever that like time frame is for uploading to Spotify. So I'm curious, like, if songs, or is it singles, like how are artists thinking about sort of when something rises to the level of it being like something that could have a song coin, and like what's the cadence that you're kind of recommending for how often artists should be experimenting with this? We just drop songs whenever they come out on Spotify. And so if an artist has a release coming out, there's typically a, song that's available to be bought as a collectible first and then turn into a coin. Yeah. I think that for us, the song is like the most basic economic unit of music. It's kind of like the backbone of the industry as a whole. Yeah. And so I think that our North Star is getting into things like artist coins and being able to bet on an artist's career more broadly. But I think if we go there first, we're kind of skipping the most basic unit that comprises this industry. Yeah. And so I think that there's like a lot of power in being able to bring royalties back into the songs and being able to generate on-chain volume that can then drive the success of a wider artist token. Because otherwise, I think you're just relying on all the same stuff we've seen before, which is like, what's the utility? How am I getting tickets to the show? How am I buying this coin to meet the artist and whatnot? And all of those things are great. I just don't think that should be like the starting point. I think that should be sort of the icing on top of knowing that you're basically just buying into something that represents their full discography and catalog that exists in the real world today. Yeah. One thing that I've always admired about you is that you have like really this unshakable advocacy for artists, and that's been true like throughout as long as I've known you and throughout the journey that I've seen, at least. And I think that's really cool. And I think I just really admire that about you. And I'm curious, like, how I know that you're doing this to be in service of artists, and I'm curious how the artists are receiving that because like the tech is confusing, and in some ways like people think it's really toxic in terms of the crypto aspect of it. And yeah, just how the onboarding has been going from the artist side, not from the traders. I feel like it's pretty clear from the traders and who they are, but on the artist side, how those conversations have gone. It's easy and frictionless. And I think this is the most important thing to me. When you work with Coop Records, you don't need to set up a wallet. You don't need to have ETH in a wallet on base. You just send a song and a cover art, and then we take care of the rest for you. And you come back and you have some extra income that you can then use to supplement your life. And so I'm not going to sit here and say that like the artists on Coop Records are making life-changing amounts of money, and now they're like fully indoctrinated into the crypto space. But
Yeah,
I think you more than anyone can recognize this, that people don't want to be in crypto, and artists don't want to be in crypto because
Totally.
they have so much other stuff going on. I think
Yeah.
they're intrigued by it, but I think they're also just intimidated on how to get started in the first place. And so the sequence that I see here is like use this first cohort of artists as almost a playground to test out what a frictionless buying and selling experience of music looks like. If we can get to a point where that can translate to fans to be able to actually start buying these songs without knowing anything about crypto, I think that's the first rung on the ladder. But the bigger problem here is one of a narrative and one of a perception standpoint. I think if anyone hears that they're doing crypto, they're selling NFTs, they're selling coins, they just get really shaken by it really fast. And so I think for me, being able to get to a point where now I can go on Instagram and post a reel and say, hey, we just dropped this new platform. It lets you put your money where your mouth is. If you think you're early to new music, then prove it and buy some of this coin. That's something that feels exciting as a narrative to people to understand. They love the concept of being able to like buy early into a song and prove that they were there first. They don't care that it's built on crypto under the hood. And so I think it's just been interesting for me as someone who's kind of lived my whole career being really crypto native to learn how to put that to the side and just talk about what it actually offers and not what it's built on under the hood.
Yeah, abstracting that away. And they're buying it through your platform, right? Like there's the path is like for them to go to where you guys are at and then buying it through there.
Yeah, like sign up with an email, get some credits, and then top up with Apple Pay. And I mean, even looking at teams like FOMO and whatnot, like we're just thinking a lot more about like on-ramping and how do you make that as frictionless as possible.
Yeah.
Because we see all of this volume coming to meme coins and whatnot, but I feel like that's almost like level 10 casino, you know? And I think that trading music doesn't need to be this like super degenerate experience, but being able to actually like buy some songs that you love and share that with your friend, or earn some coins for going to a show, pre-saving a song on Spotify, making some clips on TikTok. Like there's just a lot of stuff that I think is really cool that you can incentivize with these tokens. And I think that our focus is like, how do we give these coins to real music fans and not just pigeonhole ourselves in a world where it's only crypto degens trading this thing, because you're never going to reach escape velocity if that's the case.
Yeah. And you think that the hurdle there is the UX on the onboarding, on like that flow?
I would say it's equally as much about the UX as it is about the desire and willingness to actually own these things. I think that if there's not like any merit or value or social status around having coins or collectibles amongst your peer group, you're probably not going to go out of your way to like pre-save a song to earn like $5 of coins or like make a video. So I think that's kind of like what we've been trying to lead with now, is like just going to shows and festivals and doing user interviews and being like, why do you hate crypto? Like, have you even thought of it? Like, what's going on with it here? And so I don't know, it's just why I resonate a lot with what you're doing, because a lot of your messaging is like taking crypto topics and positioning it in a way that's like friendly and inviting to normal people. And I think that that's like a really positive and inspirational thing to look up to.
You're out there doing the Lord's work, Coop. Out there on the ground, getting people to change their minds about crypto. It's hard. It's hard work. It's hard and often thankless work. So
totally.
But you know that.
I also think too, like they're different worlds. You know, like when you're throwing events for crypto people, it's very different from throwing like a pop-up in LA or something like that.
Totally.
And I think that I want to be able to go to these pop-ups and like tell all the people who are there just to have fun and see their friends and see these artists about crypto, but like you just look so weird. Like it's not cool. And so like I think this like challenge of figuring out how to communicate it in a way that doesn't feel like you're a salesman or is too overwhelming has been really interesting. And, you know, these days I'm taking TikTok a lot more seriously and Instagram a lot more seriously and short form video. And, you know, I just even love this format of you guys having this recurring live stream, because the clipping space is super interesting to me. And, you know, I'm not saying anything that's new here, but I do think that there's a very few amount of people in the crypto space that understand the importance of these formats, and that being sort of the new distribution channel over the traditional, you know, Twitters of the world or whatever you might have it. So I don't know, I guess for me, it's just like I said, I want to come on here because I think it's a good time to sort of reframe the narrative around what we're doing here, kind of show that we're trying to get away from just like only being seen as this like music NFT thing and really starting to just reach this wider audience outside of the crypto space specifically. Well,
that's awesome. I'm so excited for you guys. Thank you so much for reaching out and for coming on and telling us about what you got going on, and just keep me posted. I want to be there. I want to hear about all the success that I know that you guys are going to have.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Take care, Coop. Bye.
See ya.
Okay. Thanks to everyone for joining the live stream. We'll see you next week.